Most businesses investing in AI infrastructure don't realize they're actually renting it, not owning it. When you hire a vendor to build your AI system, the contract determines everything: your training data, your model, your entire knowledge infrastructure. If ownership isn't explicitly assigned to you, there's a real chance the vendor retains the rights to what they're building for you and using your intellectual property. And if you ever want to switch vendors, scale independently, or leverage that infrastructure for a future project, you don't own it. You're starting from zero. So you've essentially paid to build someone else's asset. In this case, we like to avoid that problem with Expert AI OS. It's something that we very explicitly call out in our contracts with our customers. We want to be a vendor who's actually building an asset that provides intellectual value, creates intellectual property that can actually increase the value of that business. So oftentimes the type of organizations that we're working with really depend on the fact of owning these assets. So we're not ultimately creating an operational expense. The investment that's being made is actually a capital expenditure. It's investment. So that's another bonus to look at it from that perspective of this is real infrastructure that's being built. These are real tools that can be leveraged and sold in the future. And we're using the solutions that are best in class. We're not just building things on our own servers. It's just we're using Azure services or Google services for databases and building workflows. Even the AI models, the LLMs, integrating those, training them, of course, on an individual or a company's proprietary knowledge. But that's what makes them into an asset ultimately. You're taking a base model and you're training it. There's no one else that owns that information. It's completely proprietary. It's literally one of one. But we're benefiting from the technology in and of itself that we can then go and scale that, the broader organization. It can be used internally for support staff. It could be used externally for customers. And really the sky's the limit in terms of once that initial knowledge base gets built and stored into the power of AI as these RAG databases, or it's one of the things that can happen is the knowledge that's trained gets broken up into little chunks. It gets stored into a database, and that's how the model ends up calling in a very rapid way as an individual is engaging on the front end with maybe, let's say, some sort of web application or some sort of chat tool, or perhaps it's another agent or, another AI that's working and pulling that information. That is the core and the crux of how LLMs and AI actually works. And so when we're training that, storing that information into that database, this is what we're training and creating a very specific piece of intellectual property for a business that they can then use as an asset within their business, make an impact initially for growth within the company. Oftentimes our clients are experiencing severe bottlenecks in how they disseminate information, how they address customers, getting to responses. And so when you build that core knowledge base, that is the unlock for everything else in terms of being able to creating another AI that takes a different action once you have that core. Think of Expert AI OS as that base layer of, in order for AI to work for you beyond just a normal interface like ChatGPT, this generic AI, or even Claude or any one of these, the way that people are really being impacted in organizations as well, mostly large organizations, coaching businesses, oil companies, or really it's the sky's the limit. The way to kind of understand whether or not this could actually apply to you is, again, understanding if you have a core set of information, knowledge base, some intellectual property. The way I like to refer to it is like a walled garden of information. Everyone knows we can go out to the internet and gather information, but how do you actually synthesize that information and then share it to your audience? Another powerful way to disseminate that message that you've already created and that brand you've created is to train your own unique model on that likeness and then use the power of AI to then disseminate that across whatever channels you either already use or maybe plan to use in the future. So yeah, just to recap, a couple different things there. The main takeaway from this is that the difference between what Expert AIO is versus any other sort of product on the market, sure, you could go and purchase something. You'll always run into feature gaps. This platform, what we build, is very specific for the business. It accomplishes exactly what's needed. There's a very tight process in terms of delivering requirements that you as the business define and then we build. Ultimately, what we come out with is a very purpose-built piece of technology that utilizes what we know to be the most powerful and advanced technology currently, and these are the LLMs that is driving so much growth within our economy. And unfortunately, there is the downside of, it also has shifted quite a bit in terms of jobs and things like that. But the opportunity is great when you actually look at what it's doing and kind of how it's evolving the next phase of where technology is going. The difference between this product and any other product that you might purchase and get a subscription for is that this is real infrastructure. This is like your asset and intellectual property that you own that will scale your business, that you could then sell in the future if it becomes a core part of your technology stack. There's just so much more to describe and to understand. The most important thing is that it all comes down to how this is defined in your contract. You could use is AI to determine whether or not, asking that simple question when you feed your contract into an LLM just to check it and make sure, just one of the questions to ask is who owns this property once it's done? And that's a really important question to ask, and to make sure that you are the owner of it, that you own this one-of-one knowledge base, and that'll be your way into leveraging that information and growing your business.